Welcome back to the table, and oh, what a table it is.
Oh, what a table it is.
We got something finally. It's not really that heavy because it's empty.
It was that heavy when it was
But
full,
this is the big box, and it's literally a big
Can
box.
we call this a big... Let me see this thing. Can we even call this a big box at this point? This is just like a gigantic box.
Yeah, for God's sakes, don't turn it sideways or upside down. This is the big box for The Witcher Old World, and we have it. You know, we thought we would do an unboxing for you, but we
already did.
We just unboxed
we
it.
Did.
Here it is. As you can see, this is literally everything, just about, like 99.9% of the game. There's a couple pieces left in here, out on this table. And as you can see by my tiny little hand and arm here, how big this is. We've got the camera zoomed out about as far as we possibly could to kind of splay out everything that's involved. We haven't organized all of the cards yet.
There's so many cards.
And quite honestly, I'm a little afraid to touch any of them. Because I don't want to, because some of the decks have to be in
specific order. Yeah, the adventure cards are in a specific order and things like that.
The other thing is, they added so much content to this. We actually played a prototype of this way back. I mean, how long ago was that now? 2 years ago?
No, it was about a year ago.
A year and a half?
It was a year and a half ago.
Feels like a while ago.
It's like a year and a half ago. It was on this set. So
yes, it was on this set. This game has changed quite a bit. And in fact, during the campaign and shortly after the campaign, they kept doing things. One of the things they did was added the mages, which was a huge aspect.
They added a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things. Well, we should break it down because they did have the base box, which we have. They did have the stretch goal box, which contained, I think, several small little expansions.
Yeah. We didn't have them organized, by the way, when we got this. It all pretty much came in this big box. Now, it wasn't all organized because it came in two boxes. One, and I'd open this up for you, but there's a box in here. And there's a lid here. There's instructions that basically just say you can throw this away.
Well, yeah, once you've emptied that box, that is a cool box,
that
though.
That is a superfluous lid. But
sure.
I'm keeping it to display up on the wall because these other ones are a little too depth. There's too much depth.
But all of that stuff came as just stretch goals in the stretch goal box. And then if you backed separately or if you get it in the retail, there are still 3 standalone expansions as well that would have come in their 3 standalone boxes, but ended up, again, we had the big box, so it all came together. And those, I think, were 3 very meaty expansions. You mentioned the mages, which is one which gives you a whole new set of characters to play. And not even just a whole new set of characters, but like if you're familiar with the Witcher lore, which, David, you're a fan.
I am a fan. I have a shirt. In fact, side note, hold that thought, Ryan.
Got it.
This is a Witcher shirt. This is for The Witcher 3. Also, I want to point out, I'm not decked out in Witcher merch because Go On Board paid us. This is a non-paid video.
Oh, sure. We just love this game.
We're fans of The Witcher, even though we have problems pronouncing Geralt's name every once in a while. Jerry. We call him Jerry. We have covered this. If you haven't caught our recent episode of Crowd Control, please do. But yeah, we played the video game, most specifically The Witcher 3, and I got this shirt way back, when The Witcher 3 was shown behind closed doors at an E3.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long. I don't even know what year that was, but like we're talking 2014.
I might have been in high school.
2013, 2014.
No, I was out of high school
Actually,
by then.
no, it was before. Anyway,
it was
a long time ago, and the shirt still holds up because I've never worn it until just recently.
So, so we're big fans of the lore, fans of I've started reading the books now. I love the TV show. I love the game. So this game gives you the option to play as those mages, which are very different from the Witchers. They're a different sect. They use magic in different ways than the Witchers don't really have magic per se. So it required almost like a new gameplay system, a new kind of set of player boards and cards and things like that allow you to play the mages, which is very cool.
Well, not to mention it was able to bring in some female avatars for people to play with, because originally when the game was running on the campaign, they had a bunch of dudes in the game, which were the Witchers, which is historically in the books the way it is.
We do have we have Ciri.
We have Ciri
who's
also,
the female Witcher, who
which is
pretty
in the game. Sweet.
That
She's
is cool.
Also added to the game, plus all of the mages. So we have all of the Witchers here, all of the mages. I think there's a total of 10 characters. They all have these amazing dual-layer player board, actually triple-layer player boards.
You slide those cards.
I don't think our prototype had that going on. But it has spaces underneath the board so that you can slide in the cards easily when you have like a trophy, I think it was, for defeating a monster, leveling up and whatnot. The game just comes with so much. And the miniatures, we got the shaded version of the game because ever since I saw like sun drops on the Awaken Realm stuff, when a game that I want has that option, there's no way I'm not getting it. There's no way I'm not getting it. And these miniatures are amazing looking. The cool thing I've noted about these miniatures, and we'll show some of you as we post these up, not only the character or the monster or creature that's on the miniature, all the bases are really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, look at this.
They put a lot of work into it, a lot of design work.
This one right here, they also seem, they're not fragile, but they did some things with some of these miniatures that make me a little nervous while I'm handling them.
Like that one, just held on by the,
She's attached to this post. There's a wagon wheel, and there's all sorts of debris and stuff on the ground. It's not just a standard base.
Oh, they're very cinematic looking. They all look like they're in motion. They all look like they're in the middle of a fight, which is very thematic, obviously. The Witcher minis look really cool. The Mage minis look really cool. We have a ton of minis, as you see, spread out. And you also see those giant minis. Those are the legendary monsters. Which was one of the stretch goals that they released, the Legendary expansion, which is very cool. And honestly, we didn't get to play with that Legendary expansion.
Yeah, the Legendary Hunt is really cool. When we get this to the table, which we haven't yet. I just got
this version.
We just got this a couple days ago, and I've still been sorting it. Actually, 2 days ago. And we want to get the Legendary Hunt to that's the one expansion I want to use for sure. We'll probably use a few because I want one of us to play as a mage.
Well, yeah, I do want to use the mages.
You think you'll play the mage?
Probably. I'm interested to see how the mages go. But that Legendary Hunt option of like giving you that final goal of like, okay, I've fought all these little monsters to level up. Now I feel ready to tackle the legendary monster, and whoever kills the legendary monster wins.
Yeah, it's pretty much that's the game.
That's the game. But there's that push your luck of like, okay, if you go too soon. If you go to fight that legendary monster before you're ready, like that's going to set you back. And it might cost you the game if you don't prepare. But if you spend too much time over preparing, then you might lose out. And I think that's a very cool dynamic for this game.
Yeah, the legendary monster runs around, it basically moves throughout the game, leaving debris in the areas that they've been. And you can go around there and collect those debris tokens, which will help you against the legendary monster. Also, the map has expanded.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do this, but it has Skellig over here, which is sort of, we've got it covered up with some of the miniatures. But these are a lot of islands in the game. And this adds a whole new mechanic where you can go to those just like you would in the standard game. But there are ships in these harbor spots. And you can, as a part of your move, if you're in a harbor that has a ship, you can use that ship to go to island. The island, unlike all these locations, if someone's there in a ship, no one else can go there.
Yeah.
That is not the case with all of the other locations.
And there's like water adventures or quests that you can go on too, and events that'll happen on those islands, which is neat. And we also have the cooperative expansion too, or the solo or cooperative expansion, which is the Wild Hunt, which brings a whole nother kind of goal to the game. You're not competing with each other to kill the monsters anymore. You're actually working together to fight against the Wild Hunt and its leaders, which there are multiple leaders based on all the different stretch goals, because they had so many stretch goals hit. There's so much content in this game. So you can kind of build the Wild Hunt and fight against it cooperatively or just solo mode, which is really neat.
Yeah, the fact that they added the Wild Hunt is really cool. That is obviously the biggest part of The Witcher 3. I mean, it's literally called the Wild Hunt. But yeah, the cooperative mode, I think you play mostly similarly to the way you play the game as you level up and try to level up all your characters. It's just that it's all going to culminate. The Wild Hunt necessarily happens at the end. You're like fighting the Wild Hunts like hounds and stuff until then. And then it's one big cooperative battle against the Wild Hunt. And there's things you can do that sort of like take away some of their shields throughout the game. But it's interesting. I don't know how soon we'll get that to the table.
No, I want to try that cooperative one too.
There's so much about this game that I want to try.
I want to try all these different modules and expansions. And some of the stuff, some of the stretch goals just gave you a ton more cards. So when we played, there were so many like exploration cards, events and quest cards. We were like, you're going to play this game so many times and never see all those cards. And they've almost like doubled the amount of cards that were in each one over the course of the campaign.
An insane amount of cards. And like I said, I'm a little nervous about going through there. I mean, I assume they've sorted them, but I'm not familiar with all of the expansions so thoroughly to know what cards go where. And there's a lot of different cards in each of those little packs, like different types of cards. One of the cool things about the addition of the mages is there's these displays for, like if everyone's playing with The Witcher, you just use one of these displays for the cards that you can use for the deck building, you know, when you're acquiring cards. If there's a mix, you actually use this row and this row. There's
the mage cards.
There's Witcher cards and there's mage cards. And it's kind of cool. Like, that was absolutely not in the game that we played.
Well, no, because we didn't have the mages at all. And another cool thing, too, I should have mentioned this when we talked about the mages, I like that their goals in the game are different, right? Because the Witcher's trying to kill all the monsters because that's what a Witcher's job is. They go out, they hunt these monsters down. The mages don't necessarily, but the mages are hunting these monsters to collect materials from those monsters to kind of fuel their magic and their creations and things like that, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, and speaking of materials, I don't know if you even know this about this. They added, so there were potions.
Yeah.
I think there were even to some degree mutagens, I thought.
No, not like there were in the...
Not now,
Not like what they've added.
They've added mutagens as a whole very expansion-esque module that really heightens that aspect of the game. And bombs, which weren't in our game as well. Too. So I think whenever you would do the normal potion thing, you've got options now.
You're just getting excited to play. I want to play this game. It's already halfway set up. Also, we have the playmat here, which we got, the deluxe dice and coins. But this was something that, like, every once in a while you play a prototype of a game and you think, this is when I cannot wait to get back to the table. And we've waited, a year and a half to get to play this game again.
Yes, this is going to definitely be hitting our table. In fact, we'll try to put together, I don't know if it's going to be a round one. I don't know if it's going to be a full playthrough. But down in the comments below, if you're interested in watching content like that, let us know what parts of the big box you want us to include. I'm just going to say now.
We're going to say everything.
Please don't say everything. Please don't.
Put everything in the comments.
So if you want to list a bunch of things, prioritize them.
I'd like an itemized list.
a menu of items. But yeah, we definitely want to get this to the table and play. And the last thing I want to point out, mainly because I'm wearing the Witcher 3 shirt, this thing here. Do you know
the Lost Mount?
This is the Lost Mount. They have the Lost Mount, I guess, module. But it actually has some gameplay mechanics where this gets placed out on the board at the beginning of the game, and then you can interact with the Lost Mount, roll a die, and get one of a few different results. And then I think it moves and someone else can interact with it. But if it benefits you, you're able to move. But it's in honor of, I believe, a glitch that occurred in the original Witcher 3.
That let a mount be on top of a building?
Where a mount, there's a very popular game. Just search it. You'll see the horse just standing on this building or a stable, which is not necessarily supposed to happen in the game. But I thought that was cool that they respected that.
Yeah, well, this game is not Witcher, the video. Like, this is not based... Well, I mean, it's based on the books. There's a lot of tie-in and the game. There's a lot of tie-ins there. And the fact that they were able to pull all of that lore into this game, especially with the narrative cards, that like the encounter cards and things like that, like it made for a very thematic, interesting Witcher experience.
Yeah, I think this, honestly... based on my exposure to The Witcher, like in the video games, you're really seeing it through Geralt's eyes.
Yeah.
This one feels even more sandboxy in some respects.
It very much is sandboxy,
Based on our experience playing it, I don't know that I've played another game that feels quite as sandboxy.
Well, there are definitely games that are. Like Western Legends is very sandboxy. Any game that lets you move around, like Firefly, any game that lets you move around a map and, do different things and different strategies.
But I like this one.
No, this one is one of my favorite ones I've played.
Yeah, it's really good. Anyway, if you have any questions about any of it, please put those in the comments below. And like I said, if you want to see certain things in our playthrough, put those down there too. And until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.